What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, where for today's video we are going to be breaking down everything going down in the world of Transformers. Now there is a lot to discuss, so let's not waste no time at all and jump into the first reveal by Takara Tomy. They showed off images for their upcoming MPG-15 Cybertron Rattle, aka Beast Wars RATTRAP. Firstly, I think it's great to finally see Takara Tomy completing that original Maximal team, especially after it looking likely that the original Thrilling 30s Deluxe was the best it was going to get. This looks to be incredibly accurate, and yes, whilst there is a bit of a backpack, honestly, I think it does a decent job in matching up with the animation model. He will include his animation accurate Rat Beam Gun, complete with what looks to be a kill count, which is awesome. There will also be inbuilt bombs hidden inside the forearms, which is a sick attention to detail. Interchangeable face plates, which do add a ton of character, and much like that Thrilling 30s Deluxe, this also has the ability to attach onto the back of the Masterpiece Primal, so that you can have both him, Primal, and Rhinox all riding each other into battle, which really does look to be ripped straight out of the show. The Beast / the Rat mode also looks incredibly close to the show model, and seems to be packing surprisingly a decent amount of articulation. But easily the biggest thing this confirms for myself is that Takara are by no means done with Beast Wars, and that hopefully with the completion of the Maximals, we can begin to see them pump out some more Predacons in the future. Next up, we are going to be discussing all things Hasbro, and there is a lot to break down here. So firstly, Transformers Age of the Primes. They showed off their first entry into the all-new Wreck and Doom collection, which looks to be a sequel and kind of a fusion between both the Wreck and Rule and the Doom and Destruction subline. This first 2-pack will consist firstly of the long-awaited reissue of Siege Spinister. Now this guy I believe was last seen during 2019 and was easily one of the best deluxes to come from the War for Cybertron line. He will include his long-awaited Target Masters, both Hair Splitter and Singe, which were unfortunately missing from their original release. Now when it comes down to Spinister, the colours are definitely decent. This version looks to be based on how he appeared in the comics. Although, gonna be entirely honest, I still do think that original is better. He will transform into the helicopter mode, which again looks sick, and it's great to finally see this figure back out there. Honestly, I cannot wait to review it, as I don't believe I ever touched base with the original version. Now the second deluxe figure to accompany Spinister would be the Headmaster Topspin, who too was last seen in 2017, and this time will be accurately recolored to match Twin Twist. Again, a great second opportunity in picking up a now 8-year-old mold. He will still include the Headmaster capability, which can transform into Freeze Out, which also has the ability to then pilot the vehicle mode. Now in total, this pack will retail for roughly $50, and I imagine will be the first of many more to come from this Wreck and Doom collection. The next Age of the Primes reveals is actually pretty massive. This would be a Titan class TRYPTICON reissue. Now this one really came straight out of the blue, especially as when it was originally released during 2017, it unfortunately didn't really sell all that well despite being a really solid toy. This time it has been fully redecoed front side to back to better match the actual animation model, and with the exception of the pinks maybe being a little too bright, honestly I think does a really decent job. It will include all of the same bells and whistles as seen originally, only this time round without the sticker sheet, which for someone like myself is a big plus. It was also mentioned by the design team that the hip ratchets have now been modified so that unlike the original run, these should not explode during use. Now I would love to get your guys' thoughts down below. What do you think of this reissue of TRYPTICON? Would have you guys been more than happy with a straight up re-release of the version that did come out for the Titans Return toy line? Or like myself, are you kind of digging this slightly more animation accurate inspired deco? Now we turn to my bread and butter, Transformers Studio Series. They officially revealed the second wave for 2025, which sees the release of mostly brand new molds and some pretty big characters. So first of all, the Studio Series Deluxe Class Devastation Optimus Prime. Honestly, this looks so much better in person than the original stock photography. Still not perfect, but definitely better. I guess it's kind of supposed to be a slightly more budget-friendly alternative to the Studio Series 86 Optimus. Now easily one of the biggest biggest visual differences when it came down to that Devastation video game was that most of the characters were all packing this sick cel-shaded look, and they've tried their best to replicate it here with Optimus Prime, mainly when it comes down to the chest windows. And I do think it looks decent, although much like the 35th anniversary Siege Optimus Prime, I really do wish they could have gone all of the way, especially when it comes down to the shins and the thighs. The main reason for this guy apparently being a deluxe class release was so that it could pair against the upcoming 86 movie Devastator, so that when it came down to scale, it was slightly closer to what we did see in the video game. This will include an Energon battle axe, which does have the built-in mid-motion effect. To be honest, again, I think this is quite cool, as well as a newly sculpted Matrix of Leadership that, despite only being a deluxe class, he can actually wield. Now, the truck mode, gonna be completely honest guys, I still think this is looking kind of rough, especially below the grille, but this will be compatible with all of the most recent mainline trailers. So again, if you didn't pick up the 86 movie Prime, and you do so happen to own the likes of the Earthrise or the Volvo Optimus Prime, then you can simply slap that on the back of this guy's trailer hitch. And then finally, it was also mentioned that this will be the first of many more Transformers Devastation characters to be released under Studio Series. I do believe we are set to see a few 2-packs during the summer, but personally guys, I would love to know down below what characters from the games you guys would like to see. The next deluxe class is one that has been long awaited by myself. This would be the deluxe class Dark of the Moon Q/Wheeljack. A pretty big moment for us Bayverse fans after being starved for honestly the best part of 2 years. This will be the first release of this design since the original cancelled 2011 version, which was a near 15 years ago, which is crazy. This definitely does look pretty good, a lot closer to the CG model. Still a bit cluttered, especially in the lower legs, but that really is just due to the design in the film. The head sculpt looks as crazy as ever, incredibly Albert Einstein inspired, and even has the wicked electric blue hair, which is just mad. And accessory wise, initially I thought the tools on their hips could be removed, but that unfortunately doesn't seem to be the case. Instead, he will include one handheld blaster, as well as his staff, which can also be attached onto the back. He will then transform into the officially licensed Mercedes E550, which honestly you really can't complain about because it looks great. And with his release, this will actually conclude pretty much all of the on-screen Autobots from Dark of the Moon, unless they do decide to release Skids and Mudflap, which, let's all face it, is looking more and more unlikely as the days go by. The next deluxe to accompany Q, unfortunately, is seriously underwhelming. This would be a straight-up reissue of the Studio Series 86 movie Jazz. Looks to be identical to the version originally released in 2020, and it even has the original clear plastic windows that I do believe were prone to breaking. Honestly, I really think they could have saved this spot for a way more deserving reissue, even the likes of the 2007 live-action movie version. But again, I would love to know down in the comment section below, for those of you who weren't able to pick up that original release of Studio Series Jazz, do you guys plan on picking up this version, or are you holding out for a potential sale when it comes down to the Autobot United 5-pack? Now we move on to Voyagers, and they only showed one as part of Transformers Tuesday. I do believe this character is supposed to accompany the upcoming Transformers 1 Sentinel Prime, but this is the War for Cybertron Gamer Edition Voyager Ironhide, which, as we all expected, is based off the Ratchet mold, which is easily one of the best to come from the line in my opinion. They retooled the head, the shoulders and the chest, all to better match up with the actual in-game model. He will include his EMP shotgun as well as the Energon battle axe, and gonna be completely honest, I think looks awesome, maybe even better looking than Ratchet himself. I guess only time will tell. Next up, we turn to Leader Class. Now, we're going to start things off with an oldie but a goldie. This would be the reissue of the Dark of the Moon Shockwave. Last seen officially released towards the end of 2019, and this is an incredibly awesome figure. Easily one of the best from the Studio Series lineup. This will include all of the same accessories, the Nest Paratrooper, which did land on this guy in the movie, and both Wheelie and Brains, which are just as tiny as ever. This is a great second opportunity for those who did miss out first time rounds, and one thing which I thought was really interesting is that the design team also mentioned how this will lead up to the 15th anniversary of Dark of the Moon. So could we be seeing more reissues in the future, such as the incredibly elusive Sentinel Prime? I guess only time will tell. But now we turn to the big one, the Transformers Age of Extinction Leader Class Optimus Prime. Seriously, this has been such a long time coming, and when it was revealed, it instantly threw me back to the excitement I felt when they came out with that original first edition version. This is now an incredibly nostalgic design, and is crazily near enough 11 years old, which is nuts. Now this will be Hasbro's third proper attempt at the design, which is arguably one of the more challenging to translate into a mainline toy, and initially I wasn't too impressed by what they did show off at MCM London Comic Con. However, in hand, this looks so much better. The profile from the front is big and beefy with some great mechanical sculpting, and it's mostly accurate to what we did see in the film, with the exception of the additional smokestacks just hanging off the side of the legs, which don't really look all that great. And you know what, we may as well just go ahead and firstly get the negatives out of the way. The back is unfortunately what you would expect from this design. They still haven't quite been able to perfect it, and yes, it does come across as looking a little clunky. Also, the back of the legs look to be lacking any kind of real detail and instead are super smooth. But something which I definitely did think was quite cool to note is that the design team made specific mention regarding the forearms being pre the last night. Now towards the end of Age of Extinction, Optimus gets an upgrade which transforms his forearms into the more gauntlet-like design, which makes me think that we will see that when it eventually comes around to the Nemesis Prime repaints. Now in terms of accessories, he will include his sword, a shield that does have the ability to split, which then reveals an inbuilt machine gun, which I thought was a great attention to detail, and an Energon sword, which we do see him use when he is facing off against Galvatron. Funnily enough though, not shown is this interchangeable head, which is mentioned in the actual product description on the Hasbro Pulse website, so I'm wondering, have they scrapped this, because surely it would have been shown off if not. I guess only time will tell. He will also be able to transform into the officially licensed Western Star truck, which looks epic. Man, the throwback to the Age of Extinction movie is real. This looks really solid, even has proper pinned on wheels, and much like the Devastation Optimus Prime, will even have the ability to tow all of the most recent mainline trailers. So definitely a bit of a mixed bag, but still easily one of my most anticipated releases of the year. And again, I would love to know down below, what do you guys think of this Age of Extinction Optimus Prime? Were you expecting something better, or for the most part, do you think they've done a decent job, especially taking into account how complex that design was? Then finally, next we turn to a reveal which took place just before Christmas, that being the Studio Series 86 Commander Class Long Haul and Hook 2-pack, which, much like the two Constructicons previously shown, are shaping up to be incredibly strong entries. Now in terms of scale, both will be roughly exactly the same size as the Voyager 86 movie Ironhide, but the way they go about in justifying that Commander Class price point is due to them including all of the extra components to form Devastator, such as the chest piece, the forearms, the hands, the hips, the thighs, and I would also imagine maybe the head. One thing though which I thought was really cool is, despite never appearing in the movie, all of these components can then form into an additional trailer for Long Haul to Tow, which I'm definitely taking as being a really neat throwback to the vehicle of Overload that was seen in the 2009 Revenge of the Fallen movie. We also got yet another great glimpse of Devastator fully combined, and this time mostly coloured, and I think he is just looking solid. And most definitely looking forward to assembling this absolute beast, as I do think it may go down in history as being the best set of Constructicons that have ever been made. And that right there is a wrap. Everything officially so far revealed, completely covered. And I would love to know again what you guys think down in the comment section below. Out of all of the reveals, what is the character that you guys are the most excited for? For myself, it's got to be that Age of Extinction Optimus Prime. Despite definitely having its flaws, it is an update that was well and truly needed, as I don't believe we've seen this design now for a good 8 years when it comes down to Hasbro. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching, and until my next video, transform and roll out!